test. Hopefully now everyone can hear me. There we go. Brad has just confirmed that. Thank you very much, Brothers. So, let me give you a quick rundown of what's been going on. I've been talking to myself pretty much for the last 20 minutes then, as my mic seems to have had a bit of a glitch. Decided to have a bit of a glitch this morning. This is the Sharp channel. This is season 4, round 13, the penultimate race of the season for the Alonso-Division. We're following Smalley on an outlap in the Aston Martin. As you can see, Adams setting the fastest time of anyone so far in that Alpine. 2.5 tenths clear of Dangerous Dave in the Ferrari. To give you the important storyline of today's race in action is the championship battle between Ben Wright and Phoenix Gray, the two RB cars, separated by 16 points at the moment, with of course 2 rounds to go. A 10-point swing for Ben Wright to get him a lead of over 26 will win him the championship here today. Phoenix Gray will be hoping to chisel into that 16-point lead and bring it down as much as he can for the Grand Prix in Australia this time next week. There's a few battles playing out in the Constructors' Championship as well. But right now we're following Ben Wright, who's running very quick through Maggots and Beckett. 103.1 through the middle sector. This on his first flying lap of the day. We've got a full qualifying session in MSC F1, so we're looking for the bottom 4 in this first 18-minute run. JK has unfortunately lost connection. Now, it used to be a glitch in the old F1 games that you couldn't, as Ben Wright, 126.8, 1 second faster than his championship rival teammate Phoenix Gray. That's the marker for the day. Jonathan Corin has been able to join the session, I'm happy to say, as V3 SL1, or SL1 as I'm going to be calling him for the rest of the day, sets a time good enough for P10 on a 1:29.0. Smalley set to 1:29.654, as that was Lewis W setting in a 1:28.0. That's good enough to get him up into P7. As Phoenix Gray's just improved to a 27.4, still 6 tenths off his teammate, but that gap coming down just a little bit for Phoenix Gray, which is what he needs. Bradders has just set a 1:27.8. That importantly is on medium tyres, so Bradders looking like he's got a bit of speed in that Williams. The Dutchie found 3.5 hundredths of a second through the first sector as he makes his way through Copse and now into Maggots and Beckett. I really do love watching cars go through these sequences, having to really see how hard the cars work. The Dutchie up to the middle sector split, improving by 0.222 of a second through the middle sector. This could be good enough to propel him back up into the top 4 positions, at least for the moment, of course. This is in no way relevant at this stage of the qualifying. This is just to make sure you're not in the slowest 4 in a few minutes' time, as the Dutchie up to the line, 1:27.435, pips out Phoenix Gray for P4 by 4 thousandths of a second. There's a lot of 4s going on in there. Meanwhile, the Dutch Beast has just set a 1:28.1. That sees him up into P8. A 10th clear of this man here, Moomin Rider, who is on an outlap going through Woodcut and onto the old pit straight. Jonathan Corin's on an outlap. Ortron in the other McLaren is on a flying lap coming through Maggots and Beckett right now. It's got a Red Bull just a little bit up the road, so this could be good for the McLaren driver to pick up a slipstream. The Red Bull is MSC F1 Cinders, as Ginaudi in the other Red Bull is also on a flying lap. In fact, he's just finished a flying lap of a 1:28.944. That sees him up into P11, splitting the 2 Mercedes cars for the moment as Cinders returns to pit lane on that 1:30.331. Ortron getting very slidey on the second part of the Vale chicane, up to the line, doesn't slow him down too much, just pips his teammate out, Moomin Rider, on a 28.260. So the last 2 cars to set flying lap times are out on track. It's Cam Mackenzie and Jonathan Coylan. As here we go, Jonathan Corrin in the second of the two Alpines. His teammate Smalley on a 129.6, currently sits P15, so looking like Smalley is going to get dropped into the slow 4 by the time Cam Mackenzie and JK have set their representative flying lap times. Meanwhile, Moomin Rider is on a flying lap in for the McLaren team. Purple first sector, so looking like he's improving and looking to see if he can get into the 127s. Who else is on a flying lap at the moment? Lewis W's just started a flying lap on a set of mediums for Haas. As has Dangerous Dave started a flying lap on softs for Ferrari. Moomin Rider found a tiny bit of time. Oh, Moomin Rider getting it all crossed up, coming through the last part of Maggots and Beckett's. That's going to be the end of this flying run. Adams has retired from the session, happy on that 27.0. Cam Mackenzie has just started his flying lap. Meanwhile, Jonathan Corrin has invalidated somewhere on his lap so far. Most typical spot for invalidation on the F1 games is on the exit of Copse Corner, so I'm presuming that is where JK's gone wrong. Can JK go for another lap on these tyres? Although that slide through Stowe doesn't look very helpful. So a couple of mistakes being made here by our drivers around this very, very fast Grand Prix track. Cam Mackenzie 28.005 through the first sector. Has got an Alpine a little bit up the road, so it could be picking up a little bit of a slipstream all the way down the old pit straight in toward Copse Corner. One of the truly great sectors is this middle sector at Silverstone. Brooklands, Luffield, Copse, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. The corners that make it up, and here we go. Cam Mackenzie using all of the track and a little bit too much there, judging by his invalidation. Just running a little bit too wide on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's going into Chapel, so that will be the end for the first flying run of Cam Mackenzie. So still two drivers yet to set representative lap times. One driver has retired, that is Adams on that 27.0 that looks to keep him as safe as possible. Smalley is on an outlap here, looking to improve on their 29.6 that sees him currently in P16. It looks like the cut-off point to be safe is into the 128s if you can manage it. So I reckon everyone up to Angry Badger on that 28.8 in P11 is potentially at risk here. And here is Angry Badger on an outlap, feeling maybe that little bit of pressure. Some 6/10 behind the two McLarens up the road. Ben Wright retires from the session. He's safe on that 26.8, I would imagine, unless the track drastically rubbers in the last couple of minutes of qualifying. Taz Manager retires as well. That's on a 28.9. That could be a very risky play from the Mercedes driver, as here goes his teammate Angry Badger in the other Mercedes. Jan Audi is still in the pit, although that is his teammate Cinders rolling down pit lane. Cam Mackenzie's heading back out on track. I'd love for this yellow flag to clear so we can see how long is left in the session. That is Dangerous Dave that's causing it at the moment as he returns to the pit. 2 minutes 10 left on the clock. So not all that much time left in the session, and Angry Badger has found 0.2 of a second through the first sector. This is a good improvement from Angry Badger. This is what he needs to really propel himself up to safety. Bradders is on track on a new flying lap on a set of softs, just looking to cover off anyone behind by the looks of it. Moomin Rider comes through the Vale chicane. He's getting ready to dial in that McLaren for a flying lap. Jan Audi has just made his way out onto track. 1 minute 37 left in the session. He'll be pushing a little bit to get that Red Bull back round if he needs to do another flying lap. He's got a Williams right behind him. That is the Williams of Dutch Beast, who's also just gone out on track. As they look to get out of the way of the Haas of Lewis W, who's also just gone out onto track. SL1's just set a 128.3. That's an important lap time for the Ferrari driver. What can Smalley do on an invalidated lap? So Smalley is out. He's not going to be able to improve. He doesn't have time, I don't think, to get back round again unless he corner cuts his way there. Ortron's retired from the session. Where can Smalley corner cut to make that time back up to start a flying lap? Cinders starts a flying lap. Jonathan Corrin starts a flying lap. Cam Mackenzie's about to start a flying lap. 43 seconds left on the clock now. I thought I saw a flicker of movement on the timing screen, and indeed I did. It was Brad is setting a 27.259 that gets himself up into P3. That's going to be safe no matter what. Dutch Beast starts a flying lap. Here comes one of the Haas cars of Lewis W and Jan Audi. They all made it back across the line. Where is Moomin Rider as he comes to the end of a flying lap? Improves by half a second, 127.750. He goes to P7. The next car on a run is SL1, who has, on a run, has just finished that run. Smalley did not make it back around, so he is out of the first part of qualifying. Angry Badgers dived into pit lane as well. He's going to be hoping he's safe. The Dutchie definitely is safe. The next car on track. So eyes now turn to Cinders and Jonathan Corrin, and there is Cam Mackenzie as well in the background. These two cars need to set a lap time here. They're still yet to set a lap time. The Dutchie went faster than Braders on a 27.236. That is P3. That's just for a little bit of pride up at the top of the field. Meanwhile, Cinders rounding club. Get up to the line. Cinders improves by nearly a second to a 29.3. Drops Smalley down another spot. Cam Mackenzie up to the line. Jonathan Corrin's retired has gone back into the pit lane. He is out, so the two Aston Martins fall at the first hurdle. Cam Mackenzie gets himself up to 10th. That's going to be safe. Can Daddy Cool drop Taz Manager into the drop zone up to the line? Yes, he can. Taz Manager, Cinders, Smalley, and Jonathan Corrin, the four eliminated. Janaudi gets through, will not have to finish the lap, but is going to for pride. Lewis W goes purple at the end on a 26.814. Janaudi gets up to P9 on a 27.977. And that is the end of Q1. Both Aston Martins failing to get through. Jonathan Corrin, importantly, not being able to set a representative lap time. What is that going to mean for his true pace come Grand Prix? Having to work his way up from stone dead last. As we wait for Dutch Beast, Moomin Rider and Braders to get wheeled back into their respective pit garages for the session to formally end. Well, everyone watching, what do we think about that first 18 minutes? Anyone got any thoughts? I'm surprised that both Aston Martins failed to make it through Q1. I'd love to know what happened to JK on his final flying lap, as we were busy following everyone through the session. So there we go. There is indeed the final classifications. Angry Badger made it through on a set of mediums. That's an important one that we haven't seen that Mercedes full pace potential. Where could that propel him as he puts on a set of softs? There is everyone else at the top, all on a set of softs. And Ben Wright, there he is in P2. Some 6/10 clear of Phoenix Grey. 5.5, 6/10 clear of Phoenix Grey. What's that going to mean come race day and the championship standings? As the clock ends and the run into Q2 is about to begin. Here we're going to look for the next slowest 5 drivers to be eliminated. And then it's all about the pole position shootout in just about 15-16 minutes time. As the green flag is flown, the green light is on, and Quali 2 gets underway. And no early signs of movement in the pits under the very cool. I still think it is one of my favourite bits of design, like of any of the F1 paddocks. The building that's called the Wing makes up this kind of that holds the Silverstone Museum and obviously all the pit garages as well. part of the massive redesign that Silverstone had in the early 2010s, of course, as we've got movement now in the pit lane. Just so I start waxing lyrical about the rather nice design. Phoenix Grey, the first car out on track for RB. That's a statement that he's looking to make. Set the first lap time, set the best lap time he can. Can he do it in one lap time like his teammate did? Can he do it in one lap like his teammate did a session ago? Can he get through on this first flying run? That's what I'm sure he's going to be hoping. It looks like the cut-off here, just judging by the end of the last session, is going to be the high 127s. That's what's going to make you safe. Who else made it out onto track? There is Angry Badger in the now sole remaining Mercedes. Moomin Riders out on track for McLaren, as is Dutch Beast, the Dutchie, Cam Mackenzie, Bradders and Daddy Cool. There's the Ferrari of SL1 and the Alpine, or the other Alpine of Adams out onto track as well. Adams was the first car to retire in Q1, feeling that confident, and that 27.0 breezed him through. So here we go now, Phoenix Grey dialing in the RB through club, starting a push lap here on a set of soft compound tyres. I'll be surprised if anyone isn't straight out onto a set of softs as Cam Mackenzie starts a flying lap to the car behind Phoenix Grey. So we have something to compare to as Phoenix into Village, and now the loop. And now it's a full run blast through Aintree and all the way into Brooklands. As here comes the first sector split. It's a 27.8 through the first sector for Phoenix Grey. Cam Mackenzie just coming up to that split now. Sets a 28.0, so straight away 2/10 faster is Phoenix Grey than Cam Mackenzie. Is now through Woodcut. There is his championship rival and teammate Ben Wright staying nicely out of the way on the old pit straight, and through Cox Corner goes Phoenix Grey up towards Maggots and Beckett. The ever-tightening sequence of corners. You slowly have to drop gears. Phoenix Grey's got it all crossed up in the middle part of the sector and has gone off track, and that is the end of that lap as it is invalidated. So now Cam Mackenzie is the lead car on a lap, 104.5 through the first sector. Bradders is on a set of mediums. That's just out of a point of note. Meanwhile, Cam Mackenzie through Stowe has the Williams of Dutch Beast behind as they hit the Vale chicane. Phoenix Grey still going slowly, but it's made his way up to Stowe now. He can come back into the pits and go again. Cam Mackenzie, a 128.6. Immediately beaten by Dutch Beast on a 27.988. The Dutchie goes even faster on a 27.675. And now eyes turn to Angry Badger as he makes his way up to the line for Mercedes. 28.9 for Angry Badger. Moomin Rider in the first of the two McLarens up to the line. 27.7 goes P2. 2/10 clear of Dutch Beast. 27 thousandths of a second slower than the Dutchie. The Alpine of Daddy Cool and Adams, the two Alpines of Daddy Cool and Adams, make their way through the Vale chicane in line astern formation, flying up to the line. 28.6 for Daddy Cool. Adams up to the line. 27.3 goes to P1. Fastest yet of anyone. SL1 with a 28.6 gets to P6, and here we go with Dangerous Dave in the second Ferrari. Looking like the last car on the first of the first flying run. Dangerous Dave sets a 27.9, 0.05 of a second clear of Dutch Beast in P4. Ortron starts a flying lap. Ben Wright is on his way to finishing a lap. He's on a set of mediums here. Is the championship leader up to the line. 27.590 goes to P2. The confidence boost that must give him on a set of mediums that he is still reasonably, well, comfortably at the top end of the field in P2. Ortron on a flying lap will be following the McLaren as he makes his way down the Wellington Straight, named after the World War II bombers that used to take off here during the war when this was used as an airfield. Now into Luffield. All of the corners here have a name based on either an old track layout or the surrounding Northamptonshire hills. Through Woodcut, down the old back straight in toward Copse. Of course, Silverstone was originally built, the track layout was originally the perimeter road of the Air Force Base, and then through the years it got redesigned and changed and added, and this sequence, Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, was one of the early additions. As Ultron a 104.0 through the middle sector. Everyone else who hasn't set a lap time, Bradders, Lewis, Ginaldi and Phoenix Grey, are all on outlaps, and they're almost all of them in the middle sector. Meanwhile, Ultron into the Vale chicane has one more little corner to go, and up to the line for the McLaren team. 128.0 goes to P7, probably just on the fringes of what's going to be safe come the end of the next 8 minutes and 20 seconds. It's Phoenix Grey. Lines up to start a flying lap. Is that his teammate Ben Wright? It is Ben Wright, just a little bit up the road. Ben Wright has gone for a second flying lap on this set of medium compound tyres. That's going to give Phoenix Grey a little bit of dirty air through the corners that you don't want, but also give him a slipstream down the main straight or down the straights when he needs it. And it's going to get DRS here, is Phoenix Grey. This is going to be helping him all the while, as he sets a 27.7, so immediately Phoenix Grey finding a 10th through the first sector on his previous best lap. That RB looking dialed in as he gets a toe off his teammate that's sitting comfortably up in P2. And now down the old back straight in towards Copse. And up the little crest and in toward Maggots, Beckett and Chapel come the two RBs. This is where the dirty air, if it affects Phoenix Grey, is going to affect him the most. But no, it looks like he keeps it all pointing in the right direction. 103.4 through the middle sector for Phoenix Grey. We didn't get a split for Ben Wright. Lewis though on a 103.292, so Lewis is looking about a tenth of a second faster than Phoenix Grey so far through the middle sector. As Phoenix Grey rounding the last corner now up to the line. Ben Wright goes for a 27.2. Phoenix Grey goes for a 27.5. Lewis W goes for a 27.0, knocking Ben Wright off the top spot, although Ben Wright still importantly on that set of medium tyres. Bradders just puts a lap in of a 28.0. That's also on medium tyres, so that Williams has some more pace hidden away in it. Angry Badger is on another outlap. Jadaudi is coming toward the end of a lap. He did a 104.3 through the middle sector into the Club and Vale chicane. As the Club really does just kind of become a second part of Vale. Jadaudi goes for a 28.292 and slots to P11. Danny Cool momentarily left, but is back in the lobby now. So there it is. My prediction at the start of the session was right. It's a high 27 that is looking like it gets you in the top 10 at the moment. So we have a mix of cars on push laps and out laps, and Dutch Beast is not on a particularly fast lap at the moment, or is 2 tenths up on his previous best. Is anyone on a flying lap? Angry Badger's on a flying lap. He's gone purple through the first sector, so he's improving on his previous best. That 28.9, slowest yet of anyone so far. Needs to find about a second if he wants to get himself into the battle for getting through into the final part of qualifying. It's Phoenix Grey. Ben Wright returned to pit lane for the RB team. Angry Badger through the middle sector split has found that second that he needs to in the middle sector, so this could be a really important lap here for the Mercedes driver. McLaren behind, I believe, is Moomin Rider on an out lap. Cam Mackenzie also on an outlap. He sits P14. He needs to find 7/10 of a second. 6.5, 7/10 of a second. But here we go. Angry Badger up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 27.8. Goes to P7. That's Angry Badger's statement into the top 10 made. Dangerous Dave finding just over a 10.5 through the first sector. He's one to watch. Dutch Beast is on a flying lap as well for the Williams team. Moomin Rider's just started a flying run, and Cam Mackenzie starts one as well. Meanwhile, Dutch Beast through the middle sector split. This is another slow lap from Dutch Beast. I wonder if this is the in lap of the flying run we just saw a moment ago. Dangerous Dave finding half a second through the middle sector, so it looked like the track had slowed down a little bit at the start of the session compared to the end of the last, but it looks like it's now coming back to the drivers here as Dangerous Dave makes his way into the Vale chicane. It leads so quickly into club corner. It is almost just one smooth right-hander, and Dangerous Dave, 9/10 of a second improvement, goes to provisional pole. That top spot, of course. Pole position not really a factor yet for the drivers. Moomin Rider finding a 10.5 through the first sector as well. So what can he do in the McLaren? Lewis W retires from the session on the 27.0. As Ortron starts a flying lap, as I believe in a moment will Bradders. But Daddy Cool coming to the also starting a flying lap, so it's the other Alpine. It is Adams that is about to start a flying lap. Moomin Rider bailing on his lap through the middle sector. So eyes now turn to Cam Mackenzie into the middle sector split. He's bailed on it as well, so not many drivers happy with their middle run as it stands. Daddy Cool has found 0.123 seconds through the first sector. He's looking to improve on that 28.6 that sees him currently sit P13. Bradders is on an outlap. He's in P11. That would be a bit of a shock if we lose Bradders in this stage of qualifying, as the Haas of Cam Mackenzie ends this aborted flying lap. Looks like he'll be going again though, if he can save enough of the, if he saved enough of the battery. SL1 also on a 28.6 is on an outlap. Daddy Cool only found 1/10 of a second through the middle sector, so Daddy Cool needs a mighty final sector here to put his name into the ring of the very low 28s, the high 27s, and a chance at Q3. As Daddy Cool rounds the last corner, 28.4, 1.5 minutes to go. Ortron has just set a 27.899. He jumps up to P9. Bradders is on a lap, found 1/4 of a second through the first sector. Adams is into the 26s on a 26.8. SL1 comes to the end of an outlap. The Dutchie's on an outlap as well. Bradders, though, coming to the end of the middle sector, finds 1.1 seconds, 1:03.0. Bradders did set that first lap time on a set of mediums, now onto the set of softs, and is absolutely flying. Meanwhile, the Haas of Cam Mackenzie, 1:03.7, improving by 0.8 of a second. This is good from Cam Mackenzie. This is what he needs to do. Meanwhile, Bradders to cement his place into the top 10 with 44 seconds left on the clock. 26.6, that's the fastest lap time of the day. Bradders looking to put the hammer down for Williams. Cam Mackenzie up to the line, improves by half a second, but that's not enough. He is out of qualifying. Dutch Beast retires from the session as well, so we've lost 2 already. Janaudi is just about to start a flying lap. Daddy Cool is not going faster. He's bailed. That's his qualifying done. So we've lost 4 cars, or 3 cars already. SL1 did not improve through the first sector, but only a fraction slower than his previous best. So SL1 still in this game. Still needs to find 6/10 though. 7/10 to get himself into contention. 1/1000 of a second up on his previous best. This is going the wrong way for SL1. He needs to find a good improvement here, as Ortron was unable to get to the line in time. So what can Janaudi do as well? He's improved by 1/4 of a second through the first sector. This is important for the Red Bull here. What can he do to finish off his bid in the top for the top 10? Meanwhile, SL1 up to the line, needs to find some big time in the last sector. Finds some time, but it's not enough. He stays 15th. He is the slowest. He is out in Q2. And now the last car in the bottom 5 that can set a representative lap time. Ginaldi is going through Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. Keep it in bounds. 3.5 tenths found. This is going to be tight here between the Red Bull and the top 10. Needs a good final sector though. Needs the Williams to get out of the way. That is the Williams of Bradders, who does so just about getting into the pit lane in time. Hopefully Ginaldi's not lost too much time, as through the final couple of quarters, Ginaldi sliding out on the exit of the Vale chicane. The soft tyres screaming out for health, and Ginaldi's done it. He's done it by 19 thousandths of a second. At 27.880 drops Autron to P11. That is good enough for Q3 by the barest of all margins. Ben Wright returns to the pits somewhere in that. He's set a 26.7 and is the last car into the pit, so we'll have to wait for him to get pushed back into the garage. But no, he retires from the session. So there we go. That is the end of Q2. That was quite exciting at the end, with Ginaldi just squeaking through into the top 10. And importantly, Bradders with the fastest lap time yet of anyone today. An early look into the pace that Williams has. That's going to be a marker for them all to beat now. And what can Phoenix Gray do to find time on his championship rival and teammate? All the storylines and all the answers to come over the next 12 minutes, where they'll be setting lap times and grid positions from 1 to 10. Seemingly straight into Q3 here. Doesn't look like we got a chance to look at. Indeed, we didn't get a chance to look at the classifications, so couldn't see kind of the exact gaps. But there we go, into Q3. We have a green light and a green flag. 10 cars remaining. The two RBs are the only team to have both cars still in at this point. That really is a testimony to just how quick they've been all throughout the season. But it is Bradders, the fastest car in Q2 is the first car out on track in Q3, followed by Lewis W, one of the RBs. That it will be Phoenix Gray, I believe. The kick Sauber of the Duchy in that day glow green and black liveried car. The first 5 cars, we've got half of them out on track of the 10 as the clock ticks away to 11 minutes. So here come the next group, the next gaggle of cars. Dangerous Dave, Ben Wright, I believe the Alpine of Adams is in there. Yes, he is. McLaren of Moonman Rider, Ginaldi. So they're all rolling down pit lane. All 10 cars are going to be on track here. And it is going to be Bradders in the Williams. Going to be the first car that we see set a representative lap time. So we'll ride on board with him as the reoccurring safety car glitch. That visual glitch that we see as the spectator. Thankfully the drivers can't see it as Bradders, in his attempt to warm his tyres up, dips a wheel into the grass down the hanger straight and gets a little bit sideways. Those tyres are now going to be pretty warm. As up out of Stowe into the Vale chicane. And then Club Corner, and here we go. We're going to ride on board with Bradders all the way through the lap. As he makes the flick into Village and Abbey. And then down in Abbey and Farmer, should say, through the right hand hairpin of Village. The left hand of the loop comes up so quickly after that, and now it's the flip through of Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight. Riders up to the first sector split. This gets a 27.7 in there straight off the bat before going into Brooklands and Luffield. Taking quite a wide line through the middle part of the corner. Opens up the exit very nicely though. Bradders and the Williams keeping his foot absolutely flat now, all the way up to Copse corner, keeping it buried through Copse as well. Maybe a hint of a lift. Really goes to show just how much aerodynamics these modern F1 cars can pick up now. And now through Maggots and Beckett's. The last part's Chapel, and here it is, and onto the hanger straight. Open up the DRS. 103.1 from Bradders. Very good middle sector time. And up to Stowe, really flick it in. Use as much of the track on entry and exit as you dare. Don't run it out too wide, and into Vale we go. Sounded like a little bit of over-rotation, maybe a little hint of rear locking. And Bradders up to the line, 26.7. The first car to set a lap time in Q3. Lewis set to 26.995, straight into the 26s. The Dutchie 27.3. Phoenix Grey, worryingly, a 127.8. Goes to P4, was momentarily the slowest person of anyone before Angry Badger set at 27.979. Phoenix Grey, what went on there? Was he caught up with the Dutchie at any point, I wonder? They were very close to each other on track. The Red Bull of the RB of Ben Wright goes to provisional pole, 1.3 seconds faster than his teammate on a 26.5. Adams on a 26.791 goes to P3. The McLaren of Moomin Rider and the Ferrari of Dangerous Dave are finishing their laps up now, as Moomin Rider up to the lines can be a 28.0, slowest yet of anyone so far. Dangerous Dave 27.0 goes to P5. So now we wait for the Red Bull of Ginaudi up to the line. This could be a mid 27, high-ish 27 on a 27.8, goes to P7. Of course, we're expecting a big improvement from Phoenix Grey. That's about half a second to 7/10 of a second slower than we've seen him throughout qualifying so far. So at the end of the first run, it's honours to Ben Wright in the RB. Bradders and Adams very close behind though. As it looks like Lewis W is going out on track, is staying out on track for another bite of the cherry, another flying run on this first set of soft tyres. Here we go with Lewis W into Abbey and Farm. Be interested to see how well these tyres hold up for multiple flying laps through Village into the loop. Little bit of sliding out of the loop, so this is going to slow Lewis W down all the way realistically through Aintree and into Brooklands. Lewis W was able to find 0.2 of a second straight off the bat, so clearly the soft tyres can go for a second flying lap if you want them to, but will this give him enough time to get one final Banzai lap in at the end? That's the payoff with doing a 2-lap stint. And now Lewis W into Copse corner, and of course this is such a tyre hungry track. How will the tyres survive come the end of the lap? All the questions that we will find the answers to very, very shortly. Of course, Lewis W having his run plan kind of dialed in already. So Lewis W, a 1/4 of a second improvement. This is going to see him really join the battle for the front row. If it's another good final sector, it could see him up into the battle for pole position against Ben Wright. If you can bridge that kind of 2/10 gap between Bradders and Ben Wright into club corner now to finish off his second flying lap. Lewis W up to the line, 26.8, lost some time at the end, but did improve his lap time just to secure that P4 for the moment. 5 minutes left on the clock, so he will have time to get back and out again. Phoenix Grey is coming back out onto track. I'll be interested to see if he can get another full run in at the end of this one. The answer is I don't think he will. So will Phoenix Grey, go for a double run here to end off his qualifying session? Moomin Rider rolling back out onto track, as is Angry Badger. So the slowest 3 cars yet of anyone so far are all back out on track to improve on their respectively high 127s / Moomin Riders 28.0. It wouldn't surprise me if there's just a moment of calm while these three cars get their lap times in. Dangerous Dave rolling down pit lane in the scarlet red Ferrari. Maybe on the beginnings of his last run, giving himself plenty of time to get an outlap in as and when he needs it. Lewis W gets it back to the pits with just under 4 minutes to go, so I'll be interested to see if he can get another set of boots on and back out for a last flying run. Phoenix Grey, here we go. This is a really important lap for both the weekend and the championship for Phoenix Grey. How close to his teammate can he get? As Angry Badger starts flying lap a few corners back from Phoenix Grey as he makes his way through the loop. Acres of space in front and behind him. Through Aintree opens up the DRS down the Wellington Straight. Up to the first sector split, 27.7, 7 thousandths of a second up on his previous personal best, but importantly about on time with Bradders' first sector. So Phoenix Grey looking like he's matched the leaders at the moment. Now down the old pit straight into Copse Corner. Keeps it inbounds but only just, and now into Maggots and Beckett's for the RB car. Really working, getting as much life out of the tyres as he can. Phoenix Grey into the middle sector split, 0.3 of a second improvement. Needs to, realistically, I can't see a world in which Phoenix Grey can find any less than a second and still be happy with this qualifying. So unless he can find an absolutely beautiful final sector here, Phoenix Grey into the Vale chicane. And back out of the Vale chicane now and up to the line. Phoenix Grey 27.0 goes to P5. He does have time to go for a slow-ish lap again, and if he has the fuel for it, one more flying run. Angry Badgers returned to the pits. Meanwhile, pretty much everyone else is making their way out onto track with the exception of Lewis W yet. 1 minute 55 left on the clock, so I don't think Angry Badger will get another bite at the cherry. Meanwhile, Moomin Rider has found a second on his middle sector time. So he is looking to improve to get himself into the low 127s. This is going to challenge Phoenix Grey's lap time. So 27.299 goes to P7. The Dutchie and as my Xbox controller momentarily dies. Hopefully you can all still hear me. Dangerous Dave's made his way back to the pits. I don't think he set a new flying lap time. Phoenix Grey still out on track, but Ben Wright, looking to secure that provisional pole with just under a minute to go, starts a new flying lap. Bradders on an outlap is about to start one. Adams is on an outlap. They're all on outlaps with the exception of Dangerous Dave and Angry Badger. We've all made it out onto track. No, Phoenix Grey's returning to the pit, so that is his session done on that 27.030. So who is on a flying lap? Lewis W, 20 seconds to get up to the line here. As has Moomin Rider if he wants to go again. Meanwhile, so it's going to be Ben Wright, the first car to finish their final flying laps. Moomin Rider returns to the pits, so one by one the competitors behind Phoenix Grey that could knock him off that third row are falling by the wayside, but the Dutchie and Ginaudi are still out there. Meanwhile, Ben Wright, this is to secure pole position through Chapel now onto the Hanger Straight, improving by nearly a quarter of a second. This could be a very low 126 come the end of the lap. Meanwhile, Bradders found a 10th through the first sector, needs to find some big time in the middle sector. Still only a 10th through the middle sector. The Dutchie is finding a 10th and a half through the middle sector. Adams is finding a 10th and a half through the middle sector. Ben Wright is finding just under 2 tenths as he crosses the line. 26.3, that's the new target. Bradders, what can he do? He needs a mammoth final sector to find 4 tenths of a second, but up to the line Bradders. 26.5. That could have got him very close to pole had Ben Wright not improved. The Dutchie set at 27.1. Adams up to the line, gets a 26.546, so 0.03 of a second separating positions 2 and 3 at the moment. Lewis W though on a 103 through the middle sector is also improving this to spoil the party for Bradders and potentially take a front row spot. Ginaudi meanwhile up to the line has been improving all the while. 27.389 remains P9, but a good time improvement nonetheless. Lewis W up to the line, what can he do? How low into the 26s can he get? That was a very low 126. I thought I saw, but it remains P4 for Lewis W. As a 26.779. I've just been able to read off his steering wheel. So there we go. That's the end of qualifying for the British Grand Prix, and it's an all-British top 6. But importantly, 0.7 of a second separate the championship contenders, the championship rivals in Ben Wright and Phoenix Gray. Ben Wright 0.2 clear of pretty much anyone else in the field. Bradders and Adams separated by very little. Phoenix Gray and Dangerous Dave separated by very little. That could be an important one going into the Grand Prix. But of course, for now, we'll have a couple of moments rest to dial in the cars and make sure everyone is happy and set for a 50% Grand Prix. We wait for a time to go from the stewards. Do please say hello for those watching on the stream. Please do say hello. Drop a line. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on either your qualifying session or anyone else's. We have news from the admins, and that is that race start at 3 minutes past 9 UK time, so in just over 4 minutes or so. As the last moments of calm come through the lobby, there will be 45 minutes or so, give or take a little bit, of pure hard racing action to come. I'm really up for this. I hope all of you are as well. As the seconds tick by and the tension builds, it's almost palpable. You can cut it with a knife almost. The clock ticks on by. So I'm getting almost a little bit nervous for them all now. I don't know why, but something about Silverstone that I just love, and it just makes me always a little bit nervous. Maybe it's just the history, all the grandeur of this track and what it means to the world of F1, hosting the first F1 race all the way back in 1950 and hosting a fair number of other kind of spectacular historical moments through the years. I'm thinking of Michael Schumacher winning in the pit lane, and I believe the 1996 Grand Prix might have been slightly later, might have been 1999. Lewis Hamilton in that spectacular victory in 2008 and the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, winning on 3 wheels, again hunted down by Max Verstappen. And of course then, a year or so later, the massive collision in 2021, Hamilton and Verstappen into Copse Corner. Hopefully we won't get a a repeat of that today. I'm getting told to stop being smart in the Twitch chat. I don't know, I'm just kind of explaining why I suppose I feel just that little bit nervous whenever it comes round to the British Grand Prix. Of course, one of my favourite tracks, as I said earlier in the stream. That might have been off mic when I was having mic glitches, but here we go now. The 15-second board is being shown by the race starter. And the clock ticks on down, and there it is, 3 minutes past the hour, displayed by my watch. So now it's just a matter of moments for everyone to check, make sure they're ready, and it'll be race time for the British Grand Prix. So at this point, one day I'll be able to just play the old chain theme that used to start kind of every F1 session. Please don't copyright me for that, anyone. But here we go now. We wait for the lights. We wait for the start sequence. As we hit T -1, race start -1. And here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the British Grand Prix. It's a good start from Ben Wright on the right hand side of the screen. On his way up to Abbey. Brad is going to be able to slot in and hold off P2 from Adams. Lewis W P3. Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Gray swapping positions for P5. Meanwhile, Lewis W goes, sends one up the inside into Village, and that is going to be P3 for the Haas driver. Phoenix Gray going backwards. He's down to P7 as the Dutchie tries to dance his way around the outside of the RB car. Meanwhile, Brad is already up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Side by side down the Wellington Straight we come. Wheel to wheel. Brad is on the inside. He's up into P1. Cam Mackenzie up to P11. Angry Badgers going backwards at the start of the Grand Prix. Daddy Cool in 16th ahead of SL1. There are the moves happening further down the field as they make their way down the old pit straight into Copse Corner. Dutch Beast has had an awful start. Ortron and Ginaldi are swapping positions. Of course, the Red Bull driver is the one that dropped to the McLaren driver from Q3. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Ben Wright is on the gearbox of Bradders as they make their way through Maggots, Beckett and onto Chapel now. Ben Wright getting a little bit out of shape on the last part of Maggots and Beckett. Is this going to open him up from an attack behind or potentially stop his own attack? No, Ben Wright, he's going to have to go the long way round at Stowe. Tries to go for a move, looks for a move, thinks better of it. Nothing going there. As there is Phoenix Gray sitting in P7 just ahead of the two McLaren cars. This is an important race as who was that? Moomin Rider tried to send one up the inside. Phoenix Gray, that came from a long way back. Phoenix Gray, I think, just took the apex as he normally would. Didn't see the McLaren coming, and the McLaren now, Moomin Rider down to 13th as JK makes his way up into P11 down the Hamilton Straight. Of course, the main straight was renamed a couple of years ago, and JK, Jonathan Corrin, up from last, has made his way up to P11. Damir has secretly joined the session. I didn't see that coming. He's in P17 at the moment, up from P20. As they make their way through the first sector for the second time, there's a bit of a gap beginning to split across the top end of the field. The leaders breaking away the top 7, and Ortron getting attacked by Cam Mackenzie. He's going through on the inside of Brooklands, has to go the long way around at Luffield, gets it done. JK trying to go the long way around of Ginaldi at Luffield, can't get it done, and now down onto the old pit straight they come. Can the Aston Martin driver, he's going to have to hang it the long way round at Copse Corner. Not quite alongside enough to get the move done, but Jonathan Corrin already though with a 3-second time penalty for track extension. He's got to be careful now through the rest of the race. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Lewis W. That looked like Bradders had gone very wide there on the exit of Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. So he's going to lose one. He's going to lose 2 positions. Can Lewis W. go back up the inside on Ben Wright to try and take the lead into Stone? No, but Ben Wright's forced a little bit offline. So the top 6 cars separated by millimetres as Phoenix Gray looks to pick up the pieces from the back. The Dutchie's going for a move on Dangerous Dave. That's for P5 into Vale. He's got that move done. So it's Ben Wright leading the way now from Lewis W. Brad is in P3. Adams P4. The Dutchie P5. Phoenix Grey's got ahead of Dangerous Dave down the Hamilton Straight. That's up for P6. Importantly, looking at the tyres, Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave, the only two of the the leading 7 that are on medium tyres. Everyone else is on the softs. So how long can those two take their tyres in relation to those in front? Importantly, they're going to have to stop fighting each other if they want to make use of their medium tyres, as Dangerous Dave is looking to come back here at Phoenix Grey. Lewis W's having a look up the inside of Ben Wright into Brooklyn's got that move done. That was a very nice move. We saw that flash past in the near ground of our camera a moment ago while we were following Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave, who are now dropping away a little bit off the back of the Dutchie as they make their way down the old main straight in toward Cops. And Cam McKenzie and Ortron are very close to each other as well. Cam McKenzie in P8. Angry Badger's just got ahead of Ginaudi up the inside. Hamilton versus Verstappen, take 2. It's Mercedes versus Red Bull. Angry Badger went deep into Cops corner, had to give the place up. He's back down to P13. Meanwhile, Jonathan Corrin in P10, right on the back of Ortron and Cam McKenzie. That is the battle for P8, but it's the battle for the lead that we're all interested in, as Ben Wright gets past Lewis W, back up into the lead. We've got a spinning Daddy Cool on the exit of Chapel. He's going back down the grid, back down the order to almost last on at the Hangar Straight. Meanwhile, the leaders make their way through the club corner and onto lap 4 of 26. And it is Ben Wright leading the way. Lewis W, Bradders, Adams are the tight top 4. The Dutchie at half a second back. Phoenix Grey a further half a second back. And Dangerous Dave on the coattails of Phoenix Grey. So an important start here from Ben Wright. This looks like we could be in for another repeat of Monza. This time we have no Adam Fleetwood. So Ben Wright, Lewis W and Bradders have to deal with Adams though. And are we going to see 4 cars battling all the way through for all 20 something laps as we did last week? That would be an absolute spectacle to see, as down the old main straight we come. Lewis W getting a glorious slipstream off the back of the RBs. Got to go a little bit defensive though from Bradders, who's looking very aggressive in the Williams on the back of that Haas as they make their way through Cops corner and now up towards Maggots and Beckett and Chapel. And the Dutchie is importantly has fallen outside of a second of the leaders into the clutches of Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave. That's going to be one to watch. Taz Managers picked up a 3-second time penalty, as we're going to look for moves at the front and a little further back, as Lewis W's got ahead of Ben Wright going into Stowe. Can Phoenix Grey have a look at the Dutchie? Had a look, couldn't quite force a move though, so Phoenix Grey remains P6. SL1's got ahead of Taz Manager. That's on the Hangar Straight as they make their way into Stowe on the mini-map. Ortron still holding on to the back of Cam McKenzie, bringing JK and Moomin Rider along with them. That's still the battle for P8 as the leaders make their way onto lap 5. And with the Dutchie falling back, it's looking like a battle for the top between the top 4 again. Importantly though, Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave are on the counter strategy to the leading group. There he started on mediums while the others are on softs. What is that going to do for their race pace toward the end? Ortron has got ahead of Cam McKenzie. Cam McKenzie I think might have had an issue somewhere in the opening few corners, as now he's side by side with JK going down the Wellington Straight. And here comes Moomin Rider. Can he have a look? No, he can't, into Brooklands. But Cam McKenzie, I think there might have been a little bit of contact there as he's gone sliding around the outside of Brooklands, having to wait offline to get back underway. But he's lost a lot of time. He's down to P18 as Cam McKenzie from P9. So disaster there for the Haas car. One Haas triumphs though, as it's in the lead of the Grand Prix, but has got Ben Wright, Bradders and Adams right on the backside. And Phoenix Grey so close to the back of the Dutchie, going through Maggots and Beckett and Chapel. We've seen this before. Phoenix Grey does like quite a aerodynamically pointy car. It does cost him a little bit of time on the straights, as here we go. He's going to have to go the long way round on the Dutchie this occasion at Stowe, but he does love it when his car is absolutely lightning in the corners. And what's that going to do, as Dangerous Dave is looking to pick up the pieces from the fact that Phoenix Grey was forced offline in his attempted overtake of the Dutchie. He's going to have to go the long way round on the exit of Club and Vale. Can he go for the old switcheroo down the Hamilton Straight? Phoenix Grey goes a little bit defensive. Dangerous Dave looking up the inside. No. Phoenix Grey had just enough straight line speed there to cover off the prancing horse in the Ferrari and hold on to P6. JK and Ortron have lost out to the other McLaren of Movement Rider. That's the battle for P8 still raging. Damir and Smalley are doing battle down the old pit straight. I wonder what's happened to Damir, because it looked like there was a yellow flag at the end of the lap as Lewis W and Ben Wright swap positions yet again, and this time Bradders is pushing Ben Wright through Luffield. It's now out of the corner they come, down to Woodcut and the old pit straight. You can see from the helicopter shot the different lines they're taking, the slipstream they're searching for as they hit Copse Corner, the top four. The Dutchie, after making that little bit of a break as Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey did a battle, has fallen back into their clutches. So the battle for P5 carries on, and this is important for these two, that they can get ahead of the Dutchie and just put some pressure back onto the leading pack. As here we go, Phoenix Grey down the hanger straight. This is important. Ben Wright's going for a move on the lead as well at Stowe. So 1RB gets past. 1RB was almost like he was going to get past there for a second, as Dangerous Dave, with some great straight line speed, looked for a move but didn't get a move. Ortron's got ahead of his teammate Moomin Rider. That's Papaya rules playing out. Ginaudi and SL1 swapping positions. That's for P11, or so that might have been SL1 and Angry Badger, I apologise. As Ben Wright back in the lead of the Grand Prix. RB leading Haas, leading Williams, leading Alpine, the top four, as they make their way into Village and the Loop. And Adams, what can he do? He's just sitting back there watching and waiting, as the Dutchie is going to have to go defensive yet again from Phoenix Grey. He's got a good run through the Village and Loop, and now out onto Aintree in the Wellington Straight. It's a great run from Phoenix Grey. In fact, is this going to be his best chance for an overtake yet? He's looking. It'll be a long lunge up the inside. The Dutchie though locking up. That's going to allow Phoenix Grey a chance to have a look, but with the very late nature of the Brooklands Apex, the Dutchie was able to close the door quite rudely on Phoenix Grey, the championship contender, and hold on to P5, and that's yet more time lost for Phoenix Grey. This is what cost him in Monza, his poor start at turn 1 and then trying to fight through the field dropped him out of touch from the leading four. He's got to get past quicker today, and he just looks that little bit quicker through Maggots and Beckett's. Dangerous Dave looking absolutely rapid on this lap. Here we go, down the hanger straight yet again. Phoenix Grey, he is that little bit closer than he was a lap ago or before. Ben Wright's lost out to Lewis W. Phoenix Grey is going to have to go the long way around. He's got to be confident on the brakes. He's going for it, he's looking for it. He's still there on the outside, they're wheel to wheel on the exit of Stowe. Phoenix Grey forced a little bit off track, then into Vale, and Dangerous Dave's come back at Phoenix Grey here, and he's gone the outside route and has got ahead of Phoenix Grey, but here comes Phoenix back up the inside. This is a here comes through goes Hamilton moment, but it's not quite worked out for Phoenix Grey. So both RBs losing positions in the last sector of lap 7. That's massive moments here in the race and the championship. Now what can Dangerous Dave do to try and get past the Dutchie? Taz manages into the pits for Mercedes, as Ben Wright and Lewis W still continue their position swapping. Meanwhile, Dangerous Dave is very close to the back of the Dutchie. The Dutchie's forcing him the long way round at Brooklands. If he can get a good run through Brooklands, Dangerous Dave could have a go at Luffield, but no, Bradders has got ahead of Ben Wright. Phoenix Grey's got a good exit on the exit of Luffield here. Can he challenge Dangerous Dave down the old pit straight? No, he can't on this occasion. Ben Wright and Bradders swapping positions going into Copse Corner. Ben Wright just went round the outside. He's back up into P2. But this is allowing Lewis to get away a little bit at the front of the field. Meanwhile, the battle behind for P5 still going on. The Dutchie leading Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey. They're coming out of Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel, and the Dangerous Dave is further back than Phoenix Grey was this time a lap ago, but he's a little bit faster in a straight line. He's going to have to go the long way round again. The Dutchie's being very clever in his defence, forcing his competitors around the outside. Jonathan Coyran, Moomin Rider and Ortron still swapping positions. It's another big lock up there for the Dutchie. Keeps getting that front right locked up almost seemingly every time we cut to him. Bradders and Ben Wright still trying to get past Lewis at the moment, and Adams still sitting there. 1.2 seconds cover the top four, as the Dutchie and Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey now 5 seconds off the leaders. But only half a second or so separate the three of them as they make their way out of the loop and on to Aintree in the Wellington Straight. Dangerous Dave very close now. He's got DRS. The Dutchie's going defensive, but that's going to allow Dangerous Dave going to the inside at Brooklands. Got to be confident on the brakes and force the Dutchie out wide. They're still side by side going into Luffield. Now Dangerous Dave has got a job to do, and here comes Phoenix Grey. What exit can he get that's going to close the battle down. What can Dangerous Dave do about the kick Sauber on the old pit straight? He's going to have to go the long way round at Copse Corner. They're wheel to wheel, side by side. There was a little bit of contact there as the Dutchie tried to put the squeeze on. Dangerous Dave wasn't able to hang it around the outside. And here comes Phoenix Grey now in toward Maggots and Beckett. Not often you see you get a pass cut done there. And no, Phoenix Grey thinks better of it. He's got a championship to fight for. He can let these two race and wipe each other out. And now out of Chapel they come and onto the old pit and onto the hanger straight. Ben Wright and Lewis W are very close for the lead. But I want to follow this battle as Dangerous Dave finally gets to the inside at Stowe Corner. And the Dutchie's got to relent, but he's got a much better apex speed going through Stowe than the Ferrari, and now can he challenge up the inside at Vale? The Dutchie going defensive, another lock-up going into Vale, and that forces him a little bit offline as he ran wide into the Ferrari, and now the Dutchie is going to have to go defensive from Phoenix Grey. At the end of lap 10, some great racing going on here in the battle for P5, but they're 6.2 seconds off the leaders now, and Ben Wright was unable to go for the move on Lewis W into Stowe 20-30 seconds ago, but now down the Wellington straight. Adams is looking a little bit more racy now in the Williams, in the Alpine I should say, but can't make anything go. It can't get anything going. What can the Dutchie do now that he's behind Dangerous Dave and the Ferrari? What can Dangerous Dave do to break clear of the Dutchie and Phoenix Grey? Dutchie's got it wrong going through Brooklands. He got it crossed up, went a little too early on the throttle. It looked like he's lost out to the two McLarens and Ginaudi. He's down to P11 now, so that has released Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave. They're free to duel each other and close the gap down. Can they work together IndyCar style to close up to the leaders? And that would really help Phoenix Grey out, as currently Phoenix Grey is losing, well, it was 10 points. It's now just gone up to 17 points as Ben Wright has just got ahead of Lewis W and into the lead of the Grand Prix. Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave into Stowe. How long can the top four go on their softs? How long do Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey want to go on their mediums as the leaders make their way down the main straight in toward Abbey and Farm? The Dutchie's gone into the pits on the set of softs. He thinks those are done at the end of 10 laps. We're on to lap 11. Damir's not really making the journey through the field that we'd have thought from that kick Sauber car. He's still in P17. As a host of cars into the pits, the Dutchie, Angry Badgers and Cinders too. Thought we might be seeing some moves for the lead up at the front, but not on this occasion. Phoenix Grey though is going to put some pressure onto Dangerous Dave. These two really do need to work with each other to close that gap down. They're on the medium tyres, they're on the longer lasting tyres, and they should have the tyre life advantage over the leaders at this point in time. Meanwhile, the battle for P7 is raging. Moomin Rider's got to go defensive here from JK, coming out of Brooklands and Luffield down to Woodcut and the old pit straight. Ortron and Ginaudi have dropped away from a little bit of the two in front, but going into Copse, no moves getting done here in the battle for P7 or in the battle for P9. It's through Maggots and Beckett's. Lewis W's gone back for the lead on Ben Wright. Phoenix Grey's right on the back of Dangerous Dave with DRS. He's close, he's gaining. Dangerous Dave going defensive a little bit. Phoenix Grey fakes to the outside, tries to go back up the middle. What's going on in the lead with the leaders? Lewis W and Bradders are into the pits for Haas and Williams respectively. So Ben Wright and Adams lead the way. And Adams still inside DRS range. That's important. Jonathan Corridon into the pits as well for Aston Martin. And now Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey get up to P3 and 4. It's a set of mediums for Lewis W, and I imagine the same for Bradders, as we can't quite see him on this camera angle. But it is indeed a set of the yellow walled medium tyres for Lewis and Bradders. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave's now 8 seconds behind Adams. This is going the wrong way for these two. Adams though, can he lay a challenge down on Ben Wright? As for reference, Lewis W and Bradders came out in P9 and P10 in plenty of clear air though, as they make their way and try and perform the undercut on these two, Ben Wright and Adams. They make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel as well. Can Adams get a DRS run on the leader going down in towards Stowe? Meanwhile, Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey, these two are still battling on. Smalley's retired in the pit lane. Phoenix Grey is close, but not close enough to Dangerous Dave to have a look for a move. Brad is out 1.5 seconds off the back of Lewis W. Not a brilliant pit stop then for him. The two leaders are into the pits. This will be important in where they come out in relation to Lewis and Brad, as how powerful is that undercut will be the very important question. Is now Dangerous Dave and Ben and Phoenix Grey take the lead. Ben Wright onto a set of mediums and away he goes. Cam McKenzie picks up a 3-second time penalty. I believe that was Ortron just picked up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits. There is Lewis W and Bradders. Where is Ben Wright? There is Ben Wright. So Lewis W and Bradders have jumped Ben Wright and Adams. So it's quite a powerful undercut then, by the looks of it is. The retiring Smalley AI gets punted a little bit by Bradders. So what's that? That's cost Ben Wright about 2 seconds worth of race time over Lewis in that one lap. So that is how powerful that undercut is. And now Ben Wright's got on cold medium tyres, got to try and fight his way past Bradders, who we know is very stubborn when it comes to defending, and Bradders has got to find half a second to stay close to Lewis, who is now 1.2 seconds off the back of SL1 in the Ferrari. What can he do to help his teammate out, Dangerous Dave, in the battle for P5? Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey is looking closer than he has done for a while on the back of the Ferrari. Is he close enough to go for a move? Looking to the outside, nothing going into Stowe on this occasion. Lewis W now inside a second of the Ferrari, too far back to get DRS. Ben Wright though has got plenty of DRS on Bradders. He's already made his way past on the before they even get to the hill of Stowe, and he makes his way up into P7. That's a net P2 once the leaders pit, as that is SL1 diving into pit lane now. So Ben Wright's still got an overtake to make on Lewis to kind of reclaim the net lead. 1.5 seconds is the gap. Lewis has gone for a purple lap of 29.339. As the leaders, Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave, still yet to make a pit stop. As to our Moomin Rider and Gennady, who are also on a set of medium tyres each. Just looking back, Bradders and Ben Wright still very close to each other. Bradders going for a move with DRS to get ahead of Lewis W. Gennady's got ahead of Moomin Rider, who's just had a moment on the exit of Brooklands and the entry to Luffield. I wonder if there was contact or if that was just Moomin Rider getting a little trigger happy on the throttle and spinning the rear tyres like we saw the Dutchie do at the end of the first stint. And so now Moomin Rider is right in front of Lewis. How long can he form a bit of a defence? Not very long, as through goes Lewis on the inside of Maggots and Beckett's. Bradders still ahead of Ben Wright. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey still looking at the rear wing of that Ferrari. This is going to cost him. This is like Fernando Alonso against Vitaly Petrov in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix of 2010. Fundamentally, that cost Alonso his third World Championship that day. Bradders, though, falling away to Ben Wright down the hanger straight. That gap, they are now just about a second off the back of Lewis W. Moomin Rider's into the pits. Cinders is picking up a 3-second time penalty. Drama up and down the 19 car field here at the British Grand Prix, and still the leaders are yet to pit, and Phoenix Grey looking at the back of that Ferrari still. Dame has picked up a 3-second time penalty for track extension. He's running stone dead last at the moment. Ben Wright 1.7 seconds off the back of Lewis W. This could be an important victory for Haas in their battle with Williams for the Constructors' Championship. Bradders, what can he do to Ben Wright to just disrupt perhaps a little bit the RB driver? As Adams falling away from what it was a leading group of 4, and now it's kind of a 1, a 2 and a 1, as meanwhile the leaders make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, and Phoenix Grey looking very close now on this occasion. He's got DRS. He's still going to have to go the long way round if he can get close enough, but he's too far back going into Stowe yet again to get past the Ferrari. They're both coming into pit lane, so it's going to be a race of the pit crews. Ferrari versus RB. Don't speed in the lane, fellas. Both get it down to slow enough. Ginaldi into the pits as well. So this releases now Lewis and the other three to really claim the lead of the Grand Prix. They're going to be something about 15, maybe 20 seconds clear of the others. Unsurprisingly, it's a set of softs from Dangerous Dave. It's a good stop and away he goes. Phoenix Grey onto a set of softs, gets back out into the fast lane. That looks like that gap's gotten a little bit bigger, so better stop hit then for Ferrari than for RB, as through pit exit goes Phoenix Grey and Dangerous Dave, and back out onto the racing surface. Plenty of clear space, 11 seconds off the back of Adams. That's the job they've got to do on their new soft compound tyres. They've got 11 laps to go, so a second a lap to challenge kind of the back of the leading quartet. Meanwhile, Bradders and Ben Wright still swapping positions, and this is just allowing Lewis to get away a little bit. That gap creeping up to 1.8 seconds very, very slowly. Phoenix Grey did indeed lose some time in the pits. I thought he had done. He lost about 0.8 of a second in the pits to Dangerous Dave. That's going to infuriate the Scotsman a little bit. But with his teammate only in P3 picking up 15 points, he is in P6 picking up 8. So that will keep him in the championship. He needs to get by. Ben Wright moves up ahead of Bradders on the hanger straight into P2. This, if it was to end now, if the race just went now, it would hand Ben Wright, if my maths is correct, the championship, unless something untoward is done. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey now 1.1 seconds. He's found a 10th through the middle sector. Ben Wright sets a new fastest lap of a 29.335. He's going to pick up provisionally 19 points as it stands in the race so far. What can Bradders do to stop the RB driving away from him? He's still inside DRS range. He's got to keep it clean, got to keep it consistent, got to keep it fast for Williams. Meanwhile, Phoenix Grey losing time in the final sector, but Dangerous Dave finding his second. He's going to try and lay the challenge down. He wants to try and get inside the top 4 maybe and snag himself a cheeky podium if he can. He does have a time penalty though, and that is going to help Phoenix Grey out in at least a free position come the end of the Grand Prix. Moomin Rider and Daddy Cool swapping positions. That is for P10. Ginaldi is still right on the back of Ortron, as Brad is still inside 0.7 of a second off the back of Ben Wright, who's now 1.2, 1.3 off the back of Lewis W. Ginaldi and Ortron swapping positions. Can Ortron go for a move around the outside of Luffield? No, he gets it crossed up and the back end kicks out with a snap of oversteer. That's going to lose him time. Ginaldi then up to P8. Moomin Rider going to gain time on his McLaren teammate all the way down the old pit straight. And he's got Daddy Cool and SL1 and Cam McKenzie all right behind him, and the Dutchie and Dutch Beast and Angry Badger aren't too far behind either. Meanwhile, up at the front, Bradders back inside half a second, or nearly for a moment, back inside half a second of Ben Wright as they make their way through. Bradders sets a new purple lap of a 28.9. What can the likes of Dangerous Dave and Phoenix Grey do as they make their way toward the end of their respective lap 16 onto lap 17, or potentially 17 onto 18? There it is. Dangerous Dave only picking up half a second on this lap to Adams, rather than a second that we saw a lap ago. There is everyone's penalty count. So Ortron with 10, everyone else with 3, with the exception of Taz Manager in 17th on 6. And that will count come the end and the checkered flag. Meanwhile, Bradders, Ben Wright, Lewis W are all separated again by now 1.5 seconds. This is going to be the battle, I feel, to the end of the Grand Prix, and it could be a battle that decides the championship here and now as they make their way through Maggots and Beckett. And Ben Wright inside DRS range for the first time in the second half of the Grand Prix. Lewis W doesn't need to go defensive, he just needs to know that that is where that RB is, and it's that close. Dangerous Dave driving a little bit away from Phoenix Grey. This is worrying news for the championship contender. He can't stay with the Ferrari on the soft compound tyres. The medium looked like that was working a lot better for him, and this is going to really hurt and really cost him if, as Bradders goes even faster on with a new purple lap, he's going to help. In many ways he's helping Phoenix Grey, stopping Ben Wright get that extra point that would see him take the championship away from Phoenix Grey with a race to go. As Lewis W still leads the Grand Prix. Bradders, he's sitting right on the back of Ben Wright. Ben Wright sitting right on the back of Lewis W. A second now separating the top three. And Adams 5 seconds further up the road. He needs the three up front to fight and fight hard if he wants to get a podium here today. Phoenix Grey 1.7 still needs to, I think Phoenix Grey on this set of soft compound tyres hasn't necessarily made the right strategy call here. Could he have started on the soft to try and get past Dangerous Dave and the Dutchie that little bit sooner and stick with the leaders, especially on the medium compound tyres, which look to have favoured the RB today. SL1 and Cam McKenzie swapping positions. That is for P11, and with Ortron's 10-second penalty, that will be for the last of the points paying positions come the checkered flag in just over 7 laps time. As the leaders now separated by half a second. Lewis W still leading the way from Ben Wright and Bradders. And Ortron half a second off his McLaren teammate Moomin Ryder. Can the Papaya rules help Ortron in losing as few positions as possible? Maybe if he tries to get past his teammate. Of course, they're all competitors, and there's no real team engineers as there is in real F1. Meanwhile, here we go, Bradders, Ben Wright, Lewis W, there they are. Bradders forcing Ben Wright into a mistake, maybe helped by a little bit of wheel banging, but he's got a great run down the Wellington straight, and with the help of DRS he's got the inside, but no, he's given the position back to Ben Wright going into Brooklands, going through Luffield. Daddy Cool's retired from the session, so we've lost 3 now, we're down to 17. Cinders retired somewhere a few moments ago. It's Phoenix Grey now 2 seconds off the back of Dangerous Dave. That Ferrari just extending its legs a little bit. Meanwhile, the 3 leaders separated by literal car lengths. And it looks like Bradders is in the best position of them all here. Meanwhile, Ben Wright gaining, not gaining enough for a move into Stowe. But he is doing all he needs to do currently to put maximum pressure on Phoenix Grey with 1 race to go in the championship. Phoenix Grey closing the gap down a little bit to Dangerous Dave. The gap's down to 1.5 seconds. If Phoenix Grey can get past Dangerous Dave or just keep inside that 3-second window, he will get that free P5. That will give him an extra 2 points and force, if Ben Wright wants to win the championship today, that will force Ben Wright into winning the Grand Prix or taking it to Australia in a week's time. Bradders right on the back of Ben Wright yet again, coming down the Wellington straight. This looks to be where Bradders has the advantage through this first sector, and then pretty even Stevens through the middle sector as they make their way through Brooklands and Luffield. And due to the slightly longer nature of the DRS at the Hangar Straight, that plays into Ben Wright's hands. So every lap that Lewis can stay ahead going into Stowe is another lap that Bradders can stay that much closer to Ben Wright as they make their way through Copse, Brooklands and Luffield. Now when they cross the line at the end of this one, there'll be 5 laps to go in the British Grand Prix and out of Chapel, and it's going to be we might see a move here. Ben Wright's very close to the back of Lewis W, not quite in the wheel tracks, but he's forced Lewis W into a half defensive move. Defending a little bit of air there was Lewis W. That's going to slow him down a little bit, but not enough that Ben Wright, unless he goes for a Daniel Ricciardo move into the failed chicane on this occasion to have a go and get past into the lead of the Grand Prix. And because he's offline, that slows him down all the way through Club and Vale, and that just invites Bradders back into the fold as they make their way through Abbey and Farm and into Village and now the Loop. And it's this traction zone that Bradders seems to be the strongest at, and there we see it again. Ben Wright not really able to pick up the traction coming out of the Village, although on this occasion he's a little bit closer than he has been in previous times to Lewis W. That stops Bradders from having a look, and it means that we maintain the status quo through Brooklands and Luffield. But Ben Wright going a little bit wide coming out of going through the middle part of Luffield. I thought for a second that Bradders was going to try and send a move up the inside, but now down the old pit straight going into Cobb's corner. We're on the shoulder cam of Bradders as they make their way into the right hand, and nothing going from any of the three into here. And now Maggots and Beckett, and it looks like Ben Wright is much closer than he has been before through Maggots and Beckett and Chapel, but that mid speed from Ben Wright, wash of dirty air, didn't help him out, but it did help Bradders out, and now it's Bradders on the offensive. He's going to have to go the long way round. He's shaping for a move to go the long way round into Stowe, try and force Ben Wright off the line a little bit, can't get it done. And now on the run down the hill toward the Vale chicane, we've got the long camera angle from the opposite grandstand, but no, nothing doing here from the Williams on this occasion. The two kick Saubers have fallen away. I think the Dutchie just had an incident coming out of club. That's why he's now down to 16th. As the leaders make their way onto lap 23 or 26, only 4 to go, including this one, and half a second separating them, just like it has for so much of this Grand Prix. And Bradders trying to shape up a move, taking as a different a line as he can over Ben Wright. Is this going to give him a chance now down the Wellington straight? He's closer than he was a lap ago. He's in this wheel tracks closer than he was a lap ago. Ortron's picked up another 3-second time penalty. That's going to hurt him come the end of the Grand Prix. As the leaders make their way through Brooklands and Luffield, Adams still only 5 seconds further back. If there is an incident, that will play into the Alpine's hands. Phoenix Grey still inside 2 seconds at Dangerous Dave, but that gap up to 1.9 now, as you can see on the timing tower. Bradders and Ben Wright and Lewis W, 3 great drivers. They were separated by car lengths all through last week's race at Monza. They're separated by car lengths for most of the race here today, and down the hanger straight we go again, and it's going to be Ben Wright and Bradders with DRS, Lewis W with the track position, and nothing going into Stowe here. It looked like Bradders had a bit of a slide going through the apex of Stowe. That's not going to hurt him too much. It wasn't a major one, just lost him a little bit of momentum coming through corner apex. And now on to lap 24, we've got 3 to go. And Ginaldi's actually very close to the back here of Jonathan Corrin, doesn't have a penalty, and so he'll pick up that free position at the end of the Grand Prix. Phoenix Grey 1.7, 1.8 off the back of Dangerous Dave. He's doing all he needs to do to pick up that free position when it comes to him, and all he can do is hope that Ben Wright doesn't get past Lewis W here, and he's close this time. He's very close, as Ben Wright, to the back of Lewis W. Does he want to go for a look? No, he doesn't. Going into Brooklands and Luffield, it is a lower percentage move than a move at Stowe. Damir and Tasman are just swapping positions. That is for P15. As the leaders have just lapped the Dutchie. There he is in the kick Sauber just behind. Can he go for a fastest lap and rob Bradders of the extra World Championship pointers? Here we go, up towards Maggots and Beckett and Chapel. This is where we've seen the vast majority of overtakes between these three through the race. At the straight at the end of this section, Angry Badger picks up a 3-second time penalty, as does the Dutchie for track extension. Here we go. Bradders is very close on this occasion to Ben Wright. He's going to have to go the long way round. Can he do it? Can he be later on the brakes? He's going to try and sweep around the outside. Bradders with a glorious move around the outside, reminiscent of Nigel Mansell getting past one of the Williams, in a Williams, getting past in one of his fantastic races at Silverstone. Bradders now up into P2. That, as I say, that is a massive step forward for Phoenix Grey, and the championship gives him just that little bit more of a glimmer of hope for the end of the season. And now with a lap and 1 3/4 laps to go, what can Bradders do about Lewis? Does he have the energy in the Williams? Can we see a Williams standing on top of the podium at Silverstone yet again, like we did for Nigel Mansell in 1992? Bradders stays behind the American-made Haas car of Lewis W going into Brooklands and Luffield. We've seen him take different lines and try and shape up his opposition all the way through the Grand Prix. That was a snap of oversteer from Ben Wright in the background. How cooked are those medium tyres? How much more can he give? He has to get out of the throttle. The Dutchie is unlapping himself in ghost mode. That's going to put them off as they make their way into Maggots, Beckett and Chapel. As Ben Wright falls away a little bit, Bradders is pushing Lewis through the mid-apex of Maggots and Beckett. He's very close now to the back of Lewis. We know he has good straight line speed. He has the DRS. Are we going to see a 3-car wide battle into Stowe. Bradders, we've seen him make one move around the outside of Stowe. He's going for another. Can he hold off Ben Wright as well? Yes, he can. So at the end of lap 25, but Ben Wright's trying to come back into the Vale chicane. We're going on to the last lap here as they exit the next corner. We're going through Club Corner for the 25th and penultimate time. The Dutchies set a new purple lap of 28.1. No one's going to beat that in the remaining time. The Phoenix Grey is now right on the back of Dangerous Dave. He's pushed his tyres too hard and they're beginning to die. Adam's now only 4 seconds off the back of these three. If any of them pick up a late race penalty, that could be important. Bradders with DRS. He's got probably 2 DRS. He does have 2 DRS zones to go. Importantly though, Lewis W picked up DRS by virtue of the fact he was inside a second of the Dutchie. That's going to really help him now. He's only got one major overtaking opportunity to worry about toward the end of the Grand Prix. Ginaudi and JK are so close to each other as they start their final lap. That's the battle on track for P7. Phoenix Grey is inside DRS range of Dangerous Dave. That's the on track battle for P5. Meanwhile, Bradders, Lewis W, Ben Wright going through Copse Corner in toward Mackett and Beckett. Nothing separating the top 3 cars. This is what motorsport should be. Going through now the famous corner. Lewis is wide. Lewis is wide. He's going to lose time. He doesn't have the DRS. Importantly, they'd gone through the detection point. Bradders up to the top step. Ben Wright's on the inside of Lewis. Can Lewis send it round the outside on the brakes? He's going to have to try. He's going to have to send it. Ben Wright's round. He's round. And through goes Adams. Not quite bet. That was the kick Sauber of the Dutchie that got me so excited. But it's going to be Bradders who rounds the final corner to take a victory for Williams. Lewis W's going to come home in P2. Ben Wright will stay ahead of Adams, but that was an awful lot closer than it could have been. Phoenix Grey's got ahead of Dangerous Dave on the road. This is going to be for P5 for Phoenix Grey. He's only lost 5 points today. That means the gap's at 21 going into the last race at Melbourne. He does have a chance to win the championship, but boy has he got a lot of work to do. Ginaudi comes round the final corner. He's going to bring home a P7 for Red Bull ahead of Jonathan Corrin. Moomin Ryder will take P9 ahead of Autron, who's got 13 seconds worth of penalty to serve. So that's going to hand the last points paying position to SL1 in the Ferrari. Double points day for them. Dutch Beast Cam Mackenzie come home inside the window for Autron. So Autron down to P13. Angry Badger will come home for 14th. The Dutchie has crossed the line with the fastest lap. He's in P17, so we wait for Damir and Taz Manager. It's going to be Damir in 15th, Taz Manager in 16th. So Kick Sauber losing a lot of points today in the Constructors' Championship to their rivals. But there we go, the end of the British Grand Prix. Well played, Bradders. I know you watch the stream, so you can hear this live. That was spectacular racing. Jonathan Corrin gets the in-game driver of the day, making his way up from P19 to, I believe it was P8. But there we see a Williams on the top step of the Silverstone podium. The British crowd love him and he loves them as the British crowd break ranks in the parade lap and they make their way clamouring onto the pit straight. I can see them out the commentary box window. Bradders takes the Williams to the top step of the podium. He's the new Red 5 for Silverstone. Lewis W P2, Ben Wright P3, Adams P4, Phoenix Grey P5, Dave, Ginaudi, Corrin, Moomin Ryder, SL1, Dutch Beast, Cam Mackenzie, Autron, Angry Badger, Damir, Taz Manager, the top 16 all finished on the lead lap. The Dutchie was the one lapped car. He took the fastest lap point. Not that he'll get it for being outside the top 10, but he takes the pride of the fastest lap. Daddy Cool, Cinders and Smalley were the 3 retirees. And the in-game driver of the day goes to Jonathan Corrin. My driver of the day is going to go for Bradders for mounting a fantastic final assault to claim the victory, forcing Lewis into a mistake on that fantastic overtake round the outside of Ben Wright at Stowe. But Bradders, the winner and my driver of the day. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I have been sharp. This has been round 13 of season 4 for the MSC F1 Alonso-Division League, and I will see you next time for the championship finale in down under, where there is 21 points separating Ben Wright and Phoenix Grey, and the championship will be decided between teammates. I can't wait to see you all then. But folks, for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon good night and good.
Sitting heavy on my shoulders. The rain is coming down, it's getting colder. Feels like I'm gonna run out of time. I never thought that I would be the soldier. Can I keep it all together, my composure? Cause I got another mountain to climb. And I feel the darkness right now, yeah. But I really want this somehow, yeah. If I drop, it's more than a vow. Cause this ain't over now. This ain't over now. Sometimes it feels like I'm living a dream, but I know that it's real cause I'm still fighting for it. Yeah, it feels like I'm living a dream, but I know that it's real cause I'm still fighting for it. I guess I got a bounty on my head now, but I don't even take it like a threat now. That's how they be playing the game. I see the rhythm of the night from the edge now, but I ain't even trying to break a sweat now. Cause I got another dragon to slay. Sometimes it feels like I'm living a dream, but I know that it's real cause I'm still fighting for it. Yeah, it feels like I'm living a dream, but I know that it's real cause I'm still fighting for it. 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 I'm not ever living life from the backseat. I'm like Usain Bolt at the track meet. Try to keep it cool, but I ain't even low key. Got a hundo in my pocket, I ain't roasting. Cause I'm getting back to the basics. What hit me, what hurt me, what made me? Cause maybe this life is worth saving.